Why is there a space underneath the snow here? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's a cave, right. Not that one. I wonder how long it'll take for AI to learn things. I mean, on the one hand, they talk about how it takes thousands of years of accumulated gameplay for the AI to learn how to play StarCraft and Dota, for example. But they're learning in the absence of real-world information. Right? They're learning from absolutely nothing, and they're learning only in StarCraft. And they're only learning through trial and error. Whereas a human being learning StarCraft, they would like read, they would use their knowledge of language to read instructions and then go on the internet to read other people talk about playing StarCraft. Right? They're not trying to figure everything out on their own. And they use like contextual information like, you know, resources and building things, which is similar to other things we do in the real world. Whereas the idea of like collecting resources and building things, that's a concept that the AI has to learn from scratch from within the game. Like, it's not something that they just understand about the world already. So I guess what I'm trying to say is an AI that's already trained to function in the real world might learn StarCraft a lot faster than the AI that only exists inside StarCraft and learns everything from inside StarCraft. So the idea that, you know, we're still smarter than AI because, you know, the AI needs thousands of years of simulated games before it actually learns StarCraft, maybe that's just not true. Maybe that's just because we are, you know, in a way cheating by using other knowledge we have accumulated beforehand. Time is it? Oh, it's 4:05 already. Time flies when you're punching dirt. I really think like a lot of the limitations in things like translation and image recognition for AI, it's probably lack of real-world knowledge that's holding the AI back. Because image recognition, it's just looking at images. And like, and we tell them what the image is, like this is a cat. Right, okay. But the robot has never, or the AI has never seen a real cat before in 3D. Like we talk about how humans, like we learn what a cat looks like. And then we can look at many different images of cats in many different poses, from many different angles, and we understand them all as cats. Whereas if you show the computer an image of a cat, if you show it a different colored cat, or if you show it a cat in a different pose, or whatever it is, then it doesn't know it's a cat anymore. And then, okay, that's true, but the computer has only seen 2D pictures of cats. The computer has never interacted with a 3D living, moving cat, right? And presumably if you spend a few hours watching a 3D moving, living cat, you will see it in many different positions, from many different directions, in many different poses. And that is equivalent to many, many, many pictures of cats, not just like one picture of one cat. And so then I'm going back to this idea of learning from the real world. And whether the limitations of AI really is just a matter of the AI not being able to interact with real world things, and it's only interacting with data sets that are not very good representations of reality. I guess even if you show the computer a video, like a 10-hour video of a cat, but even that, you're missing the 3D, the stereoscopic aspect of it. But that's better than just like giving it 1,000 pictures, because 10 hours of video is much more information. I just realized that's lower than I need. Is that right? Oh no, what's going on there? Great. The problem with Google Translate, I mean, following the same logic then, the problem with Google Translate is that it only interacts with text. It doesn't interact with real people speaking in real time to each other in the real world, or it doesn't interact with real books, although I guess books doesn't really matter. Like context, a lot of the information in any conversation is dependent on the context, right? Where's my sponge? Like, you remove the context and you say, oh, the AI doesn't understand what we're talking about. Haha, how stupid. But yeah, you remove the context. Like, if you quote someone out of context, you can very easily make people misunderstand what they say. So it's not a problem with the AI. It's a problem with language. The idea that even we don't understand each other when we're quoted out of context. One, two, three, four, five. And physics. The laws of physics. The idea that objects can't intersect each other. I mean, the other thing is a lot of AI experiments are done in simulated environments, and AI have proven to be quite capable of finding errors in the simulations. And so if you're like, if you know, like, people would try to train a robot to walk inside simulated physics, but then they would like exploit glitches in the simulation instead of actually doing real walking. And because exploiting the glitches is more effective than realistic walking, of course it will do the thing that's more effective instead of doing realistic walking or whatever it is that you're trying to get the AI to do. In one example, like, they're trying to teach an AI to walk and avoid obstacles, but what the AI does, I mean, it runs, but it also waves its arms about like a maniac as it runs. And the reason the robot waves its arms around like a maniac as it runs is because it it doesn't get tired. So there's no energy or stamina restriction in the simulation, and so there's no energy cost to waving its arms around like a maniac. And so as it's running around at full tilt, waving its arms around like a maniac, like there's no cost to it. And so from our perspective it seems ridiculous, but it's not only ridiculous because if we did that, we would get tired. But in the simulation, the robot never gets tired because there's no simulation for tiredness. And so it just does things that to us seems like a waste of energy. But because there's no energy simulation, it makes sense within the simulation. Things like that. And I would hypothesize that a lot of the limitations of AI might be not the AI, but the environment that we put it into. Oh, that's too low. And that, you know, the robot waving its arms around like a maniac is not actually an error or a limitation of the AI at all. It's in fact doing what is most efficient. It's better, like it is better at the simulation than we would be, because it's not constrained by our expectations. Which is, again, going back to the same point I was making, is therefore if you want the robot or the AI to learn something that works in the real world, you can't train it in a simulation. You have to train it in the real world if you want it to learn how to function in the real world. I should probably fill that in. Elon Musk talks about how Tesla is training its self-driving in the real world, and it is. And he keeps talking about how simulations or training self-driving in simulated environments just doesn't work. But he never really elaborates very much on why. He just says it, and I guess he knows it's true because he's tried it. But he doesn't explain it very well, and so other people seem not to understand why. But I would guess that one of the reasons is the AI would learn glitches in the simulation as opposed to learn real-world driving. Like, it will learn to exploit glitches in the simulation instead, because that's what AI do in other simulations. That one? Not those ones? Alright, I guess time is up for this week. Man, this is taking a long time. So I paved the top of this, and then I'm like halfway through putting down the glowstone. It's gonna take maybe 2 more weeks to just get the cable duct done. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. See you in the next one as we continue building the final link in the regional loop.